fix it. And if it doesn't work, they'll send you a new one. So they're a very, very awesome company. I highly recommend them. But that's the really only one I can recommend. Everything else I've used off of Amazon, all the component or composite scalers and things like that, they've all broken or been shoddy, or they've had some weird coloring issues. I mean weird coloring issues. I've seen some of these scalers or splitters or what have you, like, completely lose the green channel. Just drop it. Like, what happened? I've had others where they've inserted more color that wasn't there to begin with. I've had others mix up the audio and the video signals. I've had that happen. I've literally had one that had the yellow. It had the RGB, and then it had the red and white for the audio. And I had one so-called scaler. It really just took the signal and put it to HDMI. I've had it reverse it, so I was getting audio on the video cable and video on the audio cable, and it was the weirdest fucking thing I'd ever witnessed. So you could hear the video, which was special, and you could see the audio, which was special.
So it was LSD.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird as shit. Basically,
I can see the music.
I can see the music. Wow. Now, in a proper television set, it would probably not display it, but mine was, an early HD set, so it would try to display anything it got, any data it got. So it was fucking weird looking, man. It sounded horrendous.
Gave your TV drugs.
Pretty much gave my TV drugs. Like I said, Reese, the only thing I can personally recommend, and maybe Nash and Mark have other recommendations, is from Geffen, because I've worked with them and I trust them. But anything else I've ever personally worked with, I mean, I have a Pinnacle capture card for composite capturing, and I cannot recommend it at all. I don't like Pinnacle. I don't like the company.
Oh yeah.
The hardware is slack to begin with. I'm not a big fan.
I can second that. Allison, Obscure Slupa, she, for the longest time, she could only get a Pinnacle capture, get her VHS stuff to the computer so she could do her videos, and oh, what a piece of shit. Oh, that thing had her banging her head against the wall so many times. I tried to help her with it, and I finally got to the point I'm like, get a new one. Get a new thing. This is bad.
I don't care what thing you get, just get a new one.
Pinnacle bad.
Yeah, I do not like Pinnacle in the least. I cannot recommend them at all. Do you guys? But can you guys recommend a scaler for composite or component to HDMI?
No, certainly not.
Yeah, my area of expertise is audio hardware and stuff. On the composites and scalers, I don't know.
All right, you know what? I'm actually, let me go to the Geffen site right now. I'm gonna see if we can get a component to HDMI scaler. Let's see. Component to HDMI. This is a live how to do it, folks. I don't have this shit prepped ahead of time. Let's see here.
You can tell this is a professional site because they don't give a crap about how it looks. It's just, we're here to get the shit done.
Basically, you already probably know the product you want. You just got to get it. Let's see here. Can we get a converter?
I kind of would have to need to know more about this. What he's connecting to what exactly?
Let's see. We got extenders. Oh man, you really need to know what you're looking for here. Switches, matrices, splitters, scalers, conversion boxes. We can do. Let's do. Component conversion boxes. This might work. No products in this listing. Uh-oh, they may be out of stock right now. That's a problem. Let's see. How about composite? Composite to HDMI scaler transforms composite or S-video into scaled HDMI video. Just to give you an example of how much this costs, their professional composite to, or S-video to scaled HDMI video, $299. And that's just one input to one output. It does take a, I do believe it takes a digital audio input, though. I have to check. Hang on. Let's see what the tech specs is. Input resolution automatically detected, 48 megabyte frame buffer, which is be good enough. S-video connector, mini DIN, composite connector, RCA jacks, power consumption 10 watts. Does not have audio connectors. Okay, so this is purely a video product. All right, so this is purely video. So, Oh, scales composite video and S video to HDMI with embedded audio, so it supports audio, I guess, in some manner.
Couldn't you just separate the audio?
I guess you could do that too. It's just an audio line. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's got the 2 audio pins on there. Yeah, it's got the red and white audio pins. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, it does this. So it's $300 though. You got to understand. They sell professional products. They don't sell a consumer product. It's not a pretty product. This is something you sort of. I've got a DVI splitter from Geffen. Spent about $200 on it. It's the best, hardest working little thing I've ever bought. I'm going to warn you. These things get extremely hot, but they are made to last. They're made to work forever. Ever since I got the DVI splitter, I haven't turned it off, and that's been 2 years now. And it just sits there, and it does its fucking job. So I love it. So again, I highly recommend them. But
that's the best technology. It just does what you need it to do, and you're done.
It doesn't do much else. I mean, it splits DVI, and that's all it does. But it does it fantastically. I can't tell the difference between my monitor on the XSplit. Well, XSplit's a different story versus my monitor here. So I mean, it does a great job.
XSplit.
Now, if you don't want to spend that money, what I would recommend you do is you have to do the regular consumer thing on Amazon, and you gotta look through the reviews, because I just when it comes to video, I don't know about you guys, but since I've been doing this for making money, I just don't trust consumer products anymore. They just fail too much for me.
Yeah. And that kind of applies to anything these days. If you were shopping for anything and you don't know about it, Amazon reviews.
And the best thing about Amazon reviews, they're culling through the reviews now. Did you hear about that? They're culling through the reviews to see if they can get rid of spam bots or duplicate accounts who were created to just positively rate up products.
Yeah, but that means the comedy reviews are going to go away. You're not going to see any more wonderful reviews for the 20-gallon barrel
Trouble
of lube.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? The comedy reviews may go away, but so will the reviews of, oh, hey, this is a great product, you should buy it. The fake ones,
Chris
at least.
Kane just told me what he wants to do with this, and my mouth is open, and I'm staring at this.
What did you do?
He's connecting everything. Any console you could think about it.
Oh yeah, he's doing a whole setup, and this is even cooler. We got to explain this on the show one day. He's connecting like every console ever fucking created to like one output, so he can stream it. It's fucking amazing.
Kind of awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty fucking awesome. But it's also very expensive and very difficult to do. Like I said, I don't know. I know he doesn't want to hear that in terms of that first question, but that's probably my best answer. Now, the second question, he says, is recently I managed to get the original You Don't Know Jack games running in XP mode in Windows 7. I'm streaming them weekly along with the usual shenanigans. However, I'm looking to add some competitive features to the show, mostly so the people in the Skype call don't have to yell buzz if they manage to get the answer first. Is it possible to set up an input server client connection to allow certain people access to specific keys on my keyboard? Ooh.
In theory, yes, but you would have to code it yourself.
Yeah.
It can be done, but nobody does it.
Well, it could be quite easy. I mean, you could write this down in Java in like 20 lines.
Now, if you trust the people playing, can you do multiple people
on a VNC connection?
VNC can, yes.
Yeah, if you trust the people playing, you can do a VNC connection with multiple people. And then, assuming they don't fuck around and they only use that one key on that keyboard, they'll be fine.
Yeah, Ultra VNC supports this. Just make the server settings so that you only upload like a screenshot every 2 hours and only in 16 colors. It's get by.
And you'll be able to save bandwidth that way.
Yeah, but unfortunately, if you don't trust the people, they'll just start doing wonderful things on your computer. Can't stop. Yeah. So that's a tricky proposition right there. Unfortunately, to get where you can set it up where someone can only hit like the B key on your keyboard, there's no out of the box solution for that. Sadly,
you're basically asking to shimmy multiplayer into a single player game. Kind of hard. All right.
No, but You Don't Know Jack is like best possibility to even make that work.
That's true, it is. Alrighty, Isolator asks us a couple of small ones. First off, this one is not really an issue, but I'm curious. When I was using my laptop as a desktop, I'd hook my SteelSeries Merc keyboard to it and use it, and it works great. Not every time, but now and again, when connected to the computer, it would freeze during loading Windows. If I unplugged the keyboard, it would finish booting up, and I could plug it in Windows, and it worked fine. Not an issue, as the keyboard is on my new desktop that works great, but just curious. The laptop is an HP ProBook 4720. My theory is that there may be a small amount of storage on the keyboard for macros and such. I've seen Windows take time to search external drivers first for boot info rather than the internal.
Well, it's not searching for boot. USB is always a pain in the ass because some USB device, when Windows is starting up, when you see that screen where it says Windows is starting and the logo is like glowing and shit.
Glowing, or sometimes on Windows the 7, I think it's also running in a circle, or
right. When that's going on, what's happening is it's initializing all the devices. And some USB devices are simple, easy, boom, it's done. Some of them, it looks at it and goes, "What the hell is this?" Even if it's done it 1,000 times before, it's what the hell is this thing? Well, okay, I'm gonna poke it. Come on, do something. Do something. And the device is like, stop poking me. I love all these technical terms I'm throwing out there. I'm sorry. But yeah, USB, sometimes certain USB devices depend. USB is supposed to be compatible across everything. You plug it in, you go, you're done. But some people take a little liberties, and I'm assuming a gaming keyboard is a little more complicated than USB was anticipating.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with what I have, my gaming keyboard at least, it's an MMO keyboard that has onboard storage. It's got it acts as a USB hub as well. It acts as a media center hub. Yep. So I don't think USB will ever really, you really want to do all of that in one device.
USB, the main problem is with the hubs, and usually the hubs built into devices like keyboards and printers and
are
stuff
garbage.
Like that. Yes, but they're garbage by design because USB is built cheap to be real cheap, real cheap. Yeah. The host has to do everything, and some of the timing the host does. If the hub doesn't keep up, then data gets lost, and Windows has to wait and wait. And sometimes it just
dies.
Like they both try to talk at the same time, and then they both detect it and both stop again, and like stuff like this happens, and nothing will go forward.
Yeah, it ends up being a what's the word? Christ, what's the phrase, Mark?
Deadlock.
No, it's a race condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, deadlock. Yeah, but I was looking for the word race condition in my head because. Yeah, I mean, it ends up being a race condition until you break it.
We're not talking like something like Selma, Alabama, riding the back of the bus. That's not what he means by
race condition. No, we're not talking about greyhounds either. No, we're talking about race condition is when two threads or two or more threads or
two different devices
in this case are trying to access the same piece of memory, the same device, or the same thing at the same time. And one of them's waiting for the other one to quit while that one's waiting for the other one to quit. And they both just keep going in circles, and they're racing around each other in a circle. It's called a race condition. It's a miserable.
That's actually deadlock. What you just described.
Yeah, it's deadlock too, but it's called race condition because I'm describing it race condition because that's what I learned. But deadlock too.
Okay.
But it's if you ever do multi-threaded programming, and it's such a pain in the ass. You have to lock resources so the other thread knows to wait, and it sucks so much.
What often happens when on USB is like you send the host sends a request, then waits for the answer, but in the meantime you can send a request to another device. And when Windows decides to send like first to query your keyboard, then to query the onboard memory in the keyboard, and the poor USB controller, who usually is only like expecting Windows to talk to one device, is like, oh crap, I can't.
You're talking to four at once in one thing. What's going on?
Yeah, and then one answers, and right as at the time Windows was expecting the other answer, and then everything goes bad.
Everything goes haywire, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Let's move on to his next question here. I want to try some amateur video making online. I bet you do. And I finally have a good computer. That was a joke. I finally have a good computer for it, so no issues there. The issue is the only place where there's room to film does not have good lighting. And I remember Nash saying you need good lighting for it to be good, especially with a green screen. I was planning on looking into inexpensive lighting options, but my mom's office was cleaning a lot of stuff out, and I was able to get a free overhead projector that seems to be in working order. Is there a way to mod this into a decent light for a small filming room?
All right, I'm going to stop right there. You're overthinking this.
Yeah.
All right, since we're doing the big expanded marathon, I can get a little technical.
Yeah. Well, let's take all the time. I want to talk about this.
All right, green screen. Now, the secret to green screen, if you want to do it, even at home by yourself, every video editor out there today has some sort of chroma key in it, where you can say, I want green to be transparent, and it says, okay, green is transparent. The problem is, if you have any shadows or any uneven lighting on that green surface, it's not the same green all the way across, and your video editor says, well, that's not quite the same green, so it's not quite transparent.
You know what's funny about this, Nash?
Huh.
The old school analog green screening is actually just a little bit better than digital green screening.
Yeah. Because you're just twisting it. You got a dial, and you can adjust.
At a dial, you can adjust the depth and oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
Though.
But for digital, it's got to be a flat, uniform green. Now, you're talking about the overhead projector. You don't need that. What you need to do is take a trip to Walmart. You're going to need to go to the light bulb aisle, and you're going to need two different things. Number one, you're going to need, they make GE Reveal halogen light bulbs. Get the 72-watt ones. Those come out to be about 100-watt output power. You're going to need at least 3 of those. Then you're going to need 3 of the super cheap, looks like a satellite dish light fixture. Those run at about 100. Those are about 100 watt, and get 3 of those. Then on your way out, you're going to need to go stop over in the trash bag and cleaning stuff aisle, and get yourself a roll of wax paper. Oh, and some duct tape. Here's what you do. Each one of those silver dish lighting things, they have a nice little clamp on them, which makes them useful. You're going to take one of your light bulbs, put it in there, then take a sheet of wax paper and put it over the light bulb and tape it in place on either side.
That's not too hot.
Yeah, do this for all 3 of them. One of these is going to be mounted behind your camera. This is the light that's going to be on your subject. Whatever is in front of the green screen, that gets the light. Now, the other 2 lights, one is going to go on either side of the green screen. One on the left, one on the right. And you're going to point it directly at the green screen. And your idea here is to light it with those 2 lights in such a way that it will be a straight, flat green across as best you can. Now, you're going to have to work with the position. You may have to move them forward, back, side to side a little bit until you find out the best place to put those lights where you get a even flat coverage. Now, the lights also have to be powerful enough to cancel out the light that's coming from behind the camera so it doesn't make as much of a shadow. Positioning also matters here too. Your subject is going to have to be in front of those lights shining on the green screen. It can't be get in between those and interrupt the light going to the green screen, because again, that green screen has to be flat, green, even. No changes in the green. It's got to be a uniform green color. Also, if you're using a green screen, you can just use like a plain old tablecloth or something. But you need some way of keeping it straight, taut, flat, no wrinkles. An easy way to do this, another cheap and easy way to do this, is to stop by Home Depot and get some PVC pipe and build yourself from some PVC pipe. You'll need PVC, maybe a couple of angle joints, and a little pipe saw, and build yourself a frame. And then get a plain old green tablecloth or some green fabric from a fabric store. and put it across that frame, and either pin it or tape it or however you can get it flat and straight in position to keep it flat and even across. Any wrinkles will show up on the chroma key and make it harder to key and correct for it. And that's it. That's your basics of green screen right there.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure, shoot.
This is decidedly much more simpler than what Nash did, and it's a little bit it's not as expensive, but it's a little bit more dangerous. I'm kind of wavering on the edge of safety here. But what I did for my green screen, and it's really interesting because I never used a green screen on Until We Win, but I experimented with it and I got a decent result. I just didn't know what the fuck to do with it. Is you set up your green screen, make it really, really flat, and then do what I did for my lighting system and get a 1,000-watt work lamp from Lowe's.
Yeah.
You then point the work lamp at the wall away from you, and that diffuses the light almost perfectly around everywhere. I say this is decidedly more dangerous because I didn't realize this, but plugging a 1,000-watt work lamp into a standard outlet is actually a fire hazard, which is why I stopped using it. But I'm just letting you know.
Also, the reason I don't encourage the use of those work lights is...
Oh, they're hot.
Especially, in a small
they're hot.
space, they heat up like crazy. You don't... It's a pain in the butt. That's why I'm saying using those 72-watt halogens. The work lamps are halogens too, but it's the difference between a 72-watt halogen and a 1,000
kilowatt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For your use,
I will say this, Nash. I will say this: when pointed away from my face, it diffused against the wall. It diffused the light quite perfectly. Of course, the only problem is my neighbors thought the house was on fire one day.
Yeah, the light bounce option is useful, and in fact, if you're using that to light yourself, you might want to try that instead of the wax paper. The setup I'm suggesting here is the reason I go with the wax paper is diffuser, because the reason you're putting the wax paper over the lights is to keep a direct glare. You want the light to be scattered and flat and a little bit fuzzy, a little bit softer. That's why you use the wax paper, because it makes the light a little, indistinct, which means it doesn't glare so much. The reason I'm suggesting this setup, as I'm talking about it, is it's cheap as hell. If you spend $50 on these lights, you spent too much. You're going to spend under $50 to get all this set up, and it'll last a good long time. It'll work easy. The replacement bulbs are easy to get. The equipment is pretty much, if you break it, oh well, I'll go get another one. This is just the simplest way of doing it. In terms of money and time, and it's the simple way of doing it. You can try to hang your green screen on your wall. I would not recommend it because you're going to be banging your head into that wall after you try and do this. I really recommend doing the PVC frame because then you can stretch the green screen properly. And you're also probably going to, if whatever cloth you get, you're going to have to iron that son of a bitch like crazy to make sure there's no wrinkles, keep it flat, keep it even. But once... Go ahead.
Yeah, painting the wall, if you're doing this for longer, painting a wall usually is your best option then.
Oh yeah, painting the wall works great too. And it doesn't have to be any particular type of green. Keep it a little bit of a bright green. But yeah, painting the wall, oh yeah, that is a wonderful cheap option. If you own your home or you have the...
you don't care.
Yeah, if you want to. Or even another option you can do is get a nice large piece of thin plywood about the size of the wall, paint that son of a bitch green, and there you go. Or something similar. Paint. It doesn't. You can use paper for green screen. That's something people don't seem to understand. It doesn't have to be the fancy, great ones you get from you go online and here buy your green screen setup. It doesn't have to be. It just has to be the color green, a flat, uniform green across all colors. And actually, here's another fun thing: it doesn't have. With most modern video editors, it doesn't have green. Green is just the color that tends to work best.
Yep. In fact, it used to not be green screening. Back when MST3K did it, and even before then, it was blue screening.
Yep.
Only it turns out that the color blue kind of a little more proliferant, and green's better.
Right. Yeah, the green was chosen because it kind of it's a little bit further away from the other colors and it's easiest to work around. Blue is actually still used, not as much now that everything's shifted over to digital, but blue was used mainly for film. Video used green screen and film used blue screen. Because it's just the way that the colors worked between the two different mediums. Now that everything's gone over to digital, you get like Attack of the Clones. You look behind the behind the scenes footage, and everything's green. That's because your digital video is a lot like regular video, and green works best.
Yeah, also many news studios use blue.
Yeah.
And the one we have here in Germany, when I visited, can actually switch between red, green, and blue, whatever they need.
Yeah, well, the reason modern studios can use blue, green, and red is because they want to choose the colors that will work best for their scene. Sometimes you want to have a little more green in your scene. If you have, for example, a scene with trees, flowers, plants, that sort of thing, perhaps you want a little more green in there. Maybe you focus on red screening instead. It really opens up the possibilities for using different colors. I mean, for example, you look back and you watch the old Star Wars films. You look at look at a Star Wars episode. Oh God, what was it? 6, I think. That was the third one.
Yeah,
episode 6. You look at the I forgot what the one. The motorcycles. I forgot what they're called. The speeders. Yeah, the speed bikes, whatever they were. You look at that scene and you'll notice the difference between the background and the riders. The background seems fluid and dynamic. The riders got a little bit of a blue tint to them. It seems kind of weird. A lot of those it's because when they were on a blue screen. They got the blue bouncing off them, and just the mixing wasn't perfect, So, if they could have used another color, they probably would have. They couldn't, so there you go.
Yeah, it's neat, and of course you deal with your average weather forecaster who will inevitably every single fucking time, at least once a week, some jackass comes in with something green on them, and suddenly they have a hole their body. Local news is fun that way.
So that's the first hour of the How to Do It marathon. You guys feeling good?
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm feeling good. I think it's time for the first hour break here, and I got to resupply on some water. Maybe get some more coffee. Maybe resupply.
Are we recording?
I'm not recording it locally. We're going to just get the highlights from it.
Okay.
But I think it's time we take just a touch of a break so we can refuel here on liquids and all of that. And we'll be back with the second hour of the How to Do It marathon.
Okie day.
Alrighty, we'll be right back. I'm going to get something to drink because I'm thirsty.
So, Nash, what's the exact model number of that GVC radio you were talking about?
What were you talking about?
The radio you were talking about. The Bluetooth one. The car stereo.
Let me see. Oh, it's actually a little cheaper on Amazon. Okay. It's the I'm trying to find the model number of it. Doesn't seem to have a model number. Okay. KD-X50BT.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one my brother has, and he's quite happy with it.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one. Works fine.
Oh shit!
It even has a Siri button. If you
Jo is at home with her parents for Christmas, and her neighbor's house burned to the fucking ground.
What?
She's fine.
Even know yet.
She's fine. Her house is fine. Everything's fine. And the neighbors got out safely, but their house burned to the ground. And they were a hunting family. So they had a bunch of ammunition, so it made it harder for the firefighters to put out the fire because there were bullets going off.
Oh, great. Great. In Germany, you have to keep your ammunition and guns in a fire-retardant case. It's like crazy expensive.
Well, it's a smart thing to do it here too, but they don't because
Yeah.
we
Let me guess, Christmas tree.
probably I'm willing to, at this time of year. Yeah, Christmas tree is the she doesn't know for I don't guess they don't know for sure yet, but I'm willing to bet money on it.